Good morning. We meet again in web framework programming class. Today we move to another topic, submission form. Before we moving in this topic, let's review our previous class. In our previous class, we study about many-to-many relation, and we create new table, transaction, and customer. From transaction, it have relation many-to-many with product. Every transaction have one or more product, and we already create the object model for this relation, this many-to-many relation with belongs to many function. And we already have transaction list. In this transaction, we have a products column that taken from junction and the products table. The junction table have a new field, product price, and the quantity. From transaction, we can get the products by using belongs to many function, and also in products we also can get all transaction of this product. We make a new page, for example this one, per product, list of transaction per product. For example, this is the roti coklat. This is the transaction for roti coklat, roti pisang, puding coklat, puding vanilla, etc. And this topic will become our last topic for viewing data. And today we move into new topic, that modifying data. Starting with inserting data in submission form. Okay, about submission data, we can read more in this documentation of Laravel about inserting data. Okay, when we use our application for inserting data, usually we have to provide UI or UX provide some form to use for user to input the required data. For example, when we register in some application, or as an administrator, maybe we add new categories or suppliers or something else. But to be remember, not all fields are provided in the UI UX form, because some fields maybe are auto increment. ID, for example, is auto increment. We never make a field for inserting by user. And some field may be taken from session. For example, in the transaction, we already log in, and in the transaction we just put the required field, for example the date of the transaction, the customer, and we not need to create the employee, for example employee field, because we are the employee and we are already logged in, and our ID already stored in the session, so it will be automatically get the session and put in the database. Okay, some field may be also not in the authority of the user, the active user. Maybe sometime we need to create some steps in editing or inserting data. For this step, maybe we just uh, we just have authority to several field, and another field have the authority for our supervisor. Then after the fields for inserting the data, usually there is a button for submitting, and maybe before submitting it will validating uh, the data first. The submit button, we can use it with Ajax or without Ajax. When we use without Ajax, it will use action in the form, and it will be directed in particular address in routing. When with Ajax, it will call a function, and the function maybe we create a parameter from this form, and then the function and the parameter will calling some routing in route setting. In this week, we still use the without Ajax first. We will use submitting uh, button. Maybe after we study about update and delete, we will back again to insert data with Ajax. Okay, there is a validation and mechanism in the submit button, usually placed in the controller, and after the data are inserted, usually there is some confirmation and maybe showing all data again, that show data and the new inserted data. Okay, for doing this one, we will create a form for inserting data in supplier table. Okay, this is an example of form. We can also see the example in our Conware template. This one is the form control, form layout. This is the layout and example of form control. This one is default, and this one horizontal form. The place of field caption, and this one is the place for component, inserted component. Okay, a lot of example in this template, and there is also another example about layout in this one, form layouts. From two column, maybe we can create with more minimum size with two column or two column, again horizontal. There is some personal info in this row. This one have two column, and then address, also a new row. Then this one also have two column. Okay, separated, bordered. This one border. Separated in each row. Stripe. This one is different color, slightly different color. Stripe. And label stripe. Just the label the stripe with different colors. Okay. Another example, focus on components. This one with autocomplete. Is this one also with autocomplete with maybe array, provided array, previous provided array. This one for country, for example, animal. Okay. And another example, there is in date picker, inline date picker, or default date picker. Yes. We maybe use this one in transaction form. Next, when we create the transaction form, we can make the transaction date, for example. We use this picker, using these date pickers. Okay, we create next in this in our project. We just create the simple example first. Maybe we use this one, and we just first in this first we just create for two field, because we will trying to insert data in supplier table. Supplier table have ID, name, and address field. Okay. So we just need to insert a field. We just need to provide two component for name and address. Okay. In Bootstrap, the form usually have form group, and there is a label, and this one for the input, and maybe there is a instructional text or something in small text after the component input. Okay, for the form, there is attribute, method, and action. There's attribute, method, and action. If we use without Ajax, it is a very important attribute. Method will set to get or post. It will define the HTTP method. And action, it will use for what URL for submitting. What URL to be the action page when submitting data. And there's some input that maybe there is input for name, for address, for date, or something else. There is some types here, type, and we can get the value. We also set the name when we use submit. The name of the element, we need to remember when it's come to the action bits. The name used for parameter when passing to the controller. So we will create supplier form. In this example, user can access and modify all fields in supplier table, but as we know, ID is not necessary to provide element for inserting, because ID is auto increment field. Okay, the step is we will prepare a routing first. We prepare the routing and we check first for if whether the routing can be accessed or not. Maybe we can just create a hello or something. Then we will create a new file and we will check again to check whether our new view file can be shown or not. And then we fill with our details of the form. Okay. First, we will prepare our routing. Okay, in our previous meeting, maybe we already have suppliers. So this one, suppliers. We create a resource routing. We have already create also the index function in the supplier controller. Supplier controller one. We already create this one, and we provide a view in supplier folder index read PHP. This one. We show ID, name, and address like this one. Okay. So because we already have a resource routing, resource controller, we will follow the prepared method there. There is okay supplier controller. There is index. We already make for viewing list of suppliers, and there is create function. This one. Actually, this one we will use this one for showing the form for new suppliers, and this create will be submit in store function. So we will code in these two functions: create for showing the form and store for saving into database. This one is following the CRUD function. Follow the prepared method for CRUD. Okay, the method will be use create method, and then maybe we will, if you check, we can see there is create here, create routing, and we prepare view routing to return a view. We will save in supplier folder and we create new file with name create.index.php. Okay, this one, return view supplier.create. Type it here, return view supplier dot create. Okay, and for view maybe in first we just put some hello world view. We put create index create create.plate.php. Hello create. Okay, we save it, also save it, and we try to access it from browser. Supplier/create. Okay, this one hello create, so our routing is already done. Then maybe we prepare again for the form. We can use example from Comware template here. Can use it here. This one form controls, so we can get this structure, or we just right click and inspect element here, and we cut this form, or maybe we can also cut from this one or this one. Okay, right click and copy outer HTML, and we put it in the create PHP, this one, and we check again. Oops, it's still not using any CSS or JavaScript, so we need to put the template in here. We can copy it from the index, this one. Okay, and end section here, and section. So this one is new suppliers, and new supplier. Okay, we will see. Okay, this one much better. Okay, we have the form taken from template, convert template, but we not use all this one. Maybe we just need text here, and for address maybe we we will use text area. Okay, so we will modify this one. Will name of the supplier, name of the supplier, the type is usual text, the ID maybe we put name here, we put name is name, supplier's name. Placeholder maybe the name of the supplier, the name of supplier. One, we not need this one, we not need this one, we just need the text area with this one. Okay, label is address, label is address. Okay, we will set the name also, name address, and this is not necessary, so we delete it. Okay, and this one is formal action, submit or cancel. We'll check it first. Okay, our new form is like this one. Action. Next, in exercise 2, we will save the data into database. Remember, we already have a button. The type is submit. It will trigger an action for processing the form data. The process is directed to a method, and the method is placed in a controller. Okay, in CRUD source, the Laravel already provide us with the store method for saving the data from new submitted form. This one. We will need to define the action and the method. Okay. In order to connect with the store method, we have to follow the convention of the resource controller. We can see it in root list that the store function came with post and URL and suppliers. This one is URL. Suppliers with post it will be used in supplier.store function. Okay, so we can use this one for URL or use this one with routing function. This one use URL function, or this one use routing function. Okay, so the action will put the routing function like this one, or the URL function like this one, and the method will be post. Okay, we put this first in our code. In the form, there is form here, form rows. Okay. We put the method is post, and the action, and we use this one, URL suppliers. URL suppliers. Okay. Then we will check also the convention whether the supplier table already follows the convention or not. As we know the model, if we use model, the table will have to follow the convention. One of the convention is it have created at and updated at field. And as we know in our table, in our supplies table, it is not have created at or updated at field. So it's not follow the convention, but don't worry, we can override this one. For overriding a table without created at and updated at or timestamp, we put this one, public timestamp equal to false. Okay, public timestamp equal to false. You can reread the PowerPoint template, PowerPoint slides in maybe week 2 or week 3 or about this one. Okay, about overwriting the table. Okay, we put this one, public timestamp equal to false in suppliers. Suppliers, where is suppliers? AP. This one, suppliers. We put public timestamps. Equal to false. Okay. Then we will put like this one for saving data in a model. Data equal to new supplier, and then name get from name taken from the element name. Also this one, address taken from the element name of text area. From this one, create, we have address here for address and name here. Okay. This one taken from the name of the element, and then save the data. Okay, data new suppliers, and then the field and save the data. Okay, we created in the store. In supplier controller, save it first, save the suppliers, and then move to suppliers transaction, suppliers controller, and we move it and code the data equal to new supplier, then the field data row name taken from request, row get name, the name of the element user inserting the name of supplier and address. And saving the data. Save. Okay, we will check it first. Next, run and submit. Okay, maybe it will not work, but why it happened will be explained in next slides, but we will try it first. Okay, refresh it, put some name here. So, Rotiman Kertajaya submit. Oh, it's expired. What this mean? It's expired. Okay, error 418 status code. You can see in Wikipedia or something else. It found that this one is an error for CSRF token is missing or expired. CSRF token is one of the security features. It overcomes an injection of cross-site request forgery. CSRF cross-site request forgery scripting. It overcomes this injection. So in Laravel, we can generate a token in each method section, and it can be done with simple syntax. Just put at CSRF in the request, put Ajax or forms. Maybe if we create Ajax, we also have to put it also in Ajax parameters CSRF. Okay, we will put it in our form at CSRF. Our form is in create.breed. This one, we put it here at CSRF. What is at CSRF anyway? We can check it in this element, create, and we can, for example, inspect element. We will see what is the CSSF in the form. This one. Okay. Okay. If observed in inspect element, the syntax will become a hidden element with a token. And we can try to resubmitting. Put again the name. Rotiman Kertajaya. Submit. Oops. Wait. Column not for updated. I think we already put the, maybe we not yet in suppliers. Okay, sorry. There is double M here. Timestamps. Okay, timestamps. So the overriding is error, and then the Laravel need to access the updated at and inserted at, because our overriding is error. So after we fix it, Okay, it is blank page, but we will check in the database first. Okay, in the database, after refresh, we can get this one, a new field, a new row, Rotiman in Kertajaya, just like our previous insert, Rotiman in Kertajaya. So our form is success to store data in database. Okay. The blank page is shown because in our controller, in our store method, we not yet written any view and also not directed to another page. If we want to see all sparse data, we can recall the index, or we also can create a view, but it is not recommended to create new view when we already have this the similar one. So next, in exercise 3, we create a confirmation page and we will learn about redirect. Okay, redirect for confirmation we can use recall or index function in supplier controller. It is not recommended to make new query because it is already done in index. It means if we already have a similar function, why not we use it again? We actually you can create a new file, a new view and a new query and calling the view, but because it is already done in index, it is recommended to use it again, to reuse the index function. Then therefore we will use redirection. Redirect in Laravel is similar to redirect in another in native language, HTML native. It will change the page to another page based on the URL. The redirect can be placed in the controller or action in routing file. The advantage of redirect in Laravel, we can use the redirect function for some behaviors. Yeah, we can use redirect back to going back in page before the active page. Maybe if the form is there is an error or something, it will be back into the form again. For example, it's validating the credit card. For example, we create a web service and then there is an error in the web service. We going back to the form. Okay. Second, it can be redirect based on root name and also can be parameterized. If the root need parameter, we can provide it. It can be redirect to a controller function. It can be redirect to another URL. This is a piece of the redirect. And it can be redirect with bringing a flash message. This one is new. The flash message will be stored in session. So before the redirect, the Laravel will be stored some variable into session by using flash message. This one is the example of back redirect. use return back a row with input. With input mean our input will be still in there, still in form, not blank. The form will not blank, but with input that we fill in before we submit. And this one example of root name, redirect with root name. For example, this one we routing to login, and this one routing to profile with a parameter, for example the ID. And also we can route in function with calling of function. This one for calling the home controller function index. Okay, and also this one with parameter, for example ID. And we can use it with with storing flash data. For example, this one with status, comma, profile update. So this one will be saved into status session. It will create status section with value profile updated string. This string. To get the session, we can use session function. This one. If there is session status, so create the alert. Create the alert with this status. Text the status in an alert. Okay, this seems we can use this one. Can use this one for confirmation and showing the list of suppliers. Okay, we will put the flash function and redirecting in suppliers index. For example, we create a status supplier is added. And in index we modify the index, we put it in some place before the form input and after the page content. For example, after page content we create this one. If there is status, we will put the status in alert div. Okay, we will modify first the store function. Store function in suppliers controller. Here we will modify with return redirect route to suppliers dot index suppliers dot index with this one is the session name status and will add with process supplier is added, new supplier is added. Okay, and we modify the index this one, maybe put some, okay, we put some alert. Maybe we put it here before the table. Okay, if session, if session status, there is any session status, and if we put div alert class alert success for bar green alert, and we put the status message here, session status. Okay, we will check it again. Maybe we need to refresh it and put new, for example, pizza at address Sukolilo. We submit it. Okay, it is redirect to the index, and there is confirmation alert here. New supplier is added. Looks great. Okay. Good. Okay. On the example of the output, as additional, we can put a button in some place. For example, we put it here, or we put it here. Okay, for new button for calling new supplier form. This one for the example. A type button, the type is button, and its ref is routing for suppliers create. Okay, we create it first. Maybe we put it in here, page toolbar. We create a its ref route suppliers create, and the class is button. Class button the orange danger or alert. Okay, plus new supplier. Oops, sorry. Okay, this one. Suppliers. Okay, suppliers. Okay, this one. New suppliers. Button alert. Why it not create the button? Button fit active. So type is button. Type button. kill this one, but it's okay, I think. Okay, new suppliers, and we create. We move to the new page, suppliers page. XYZ, for example. There are more. Okay, this one, and with the confirmation alert. Great. Okay, and this one is the last on our exercise, and we move to framework. Home. Okay, for the homework, please implement a submission form for products. As we know, there is a foreign key in product, foreign key from categories. Use combo box for selecting the categories. The choices in the combo box is taken from one is the choices in the options in the combo box is taken from query that pass when calling the view. So when calling the view in create method, for example, okay, in create maybe we create the supplier first. In create this one, create some query here. Create query categories here and put it in here. Put as parameter here. Put as parameter here. Okay. So when it call for example product.create, we can looping the categories data and filling the options in the combo box. Each option will have value and caption. The value can take from category ID and the caption is taken from category name. And the selected value of the combo box will be stored in category ID. We meet again next week with this homework. Okay, thank you. Cut.